Tammy. How are you? This is my dog Ibis. He's a white German Shepherd. And this week is kind of like show and tell with Mrs. Walker. And I'm going to use him as part of my lesson. Now, how is a dog going to help us to be better writers? Well, I'm going to tell you. Now, remember last week we were doing hyperbole and personification. This week we're going to do two more types of figurative language, Tammy. We're going to do similes and metaphors. And Ibis here is going to help us. Now, you can see he's really fluffy and white. Now, if I was to use a simile to describe this, a simile is something that compares two things using the words like or as. So instead of saying Ibis is a white dog, because that's kind of boring, I could say Ibis is as white as snow. See how I use the word as there to connect those two thoughts? Now, if I wanted to use a simile to describe his personality, I could say Ibis is as stubborn as an ox. Let me tell you, Tammy, this dog is very cute, but he doesn't do anything I tell him to do. If I tell him to go right, Tammy, he goes left. If I tell him to sit, he'll stand. If I tell him to lay down, he'll roll over. He doesn't do anything I tell him to do. He does what he wants to do. He is a stubborn dog. But if I had to use one more simile to describe him, I would say that my dog Ibis is as brave as a lion. Okay, that's the reason we got him. He is my security system. Even though he's really calm and gentle right now, if a stranger were to come by or somebody we didn't know who tried to hurt us, Ibis would bristle up and bark and be very fierce. Yes, he would be very fierce, and he would protect us from danger. So he is indeed very, very brave. Now, the second type of figurative language that I want to talk to you about this week, Tammy, is metaphors. And they're probably Mrs. Walker's favorite type of figurative language. A metaphor states that something is something else. Now, I've got Ibis here, who's doing very wonderful. You're doing so wonderful today. Now, if I wanted to use a metaphor to talk about this dog, I could focus in on his teeth. You see his teeth right here, Timmy? Look at those teeth. Ooh, he speaks so good. Look at his teeth. Now, if I wanted to talk about his teeth using a metaphor, I could say something like this. I could say his teeth are white daggers. That sounds awesome. I'm going to say it again. Are you ready? His teeth are white daggers. So his teeth right here, they're not really daggers, Tammy. A dagger is a very small knife that I could hold in my hand. His mouth is not full of knives, but if he were to use these teeth and bite somebody, it would definitely hurt them and feel like knives were going right into their skin. Now, I'm sitting out here in my backyard, Tammy, and again, Ibis is being so wonderful. We're sitting on the grass. Now, if I wanted to describe my setting and use a metaphor, I could say something like this. The grass is a green blanket. Okay? So I didn't use the word like or as. So right away I know, no, that's not a simile. It must be a metaphor. Or I could say this. The grass is a green blanket. Now, for my final metaphor, I'm going to kind of compare it to Ibis. You see him right here laying down being so wonderful for me? A lot of people, when we're taking walks, they think he's a wolf. Doesn't he have that wolf-like look to him? Now, in the secret cave drawings, Tammy, that's a really cool story, and it's got a lot of mysterious elements to it. And in my mind, this is kind of how I picture the setting. Like I would be in the cave, and there would be some wind. Now, there's zero wind right now in my backyard, so I'm really going to have to be creative. So I picture the wind coming through the cave. But in the secret cave drawings, I think, as a writer, I would want it to make a kind of creepy, eerie kind of sound. Don't you? So I could use a metaphor right here to describe the wind. I could say this: the wind was a howling wolf. Oh my gosh, that's so amazing. I have to say it again. Are you ready? The wind was a howling wolf. Now, when I say that, this is what comes to my mind, because the wind is still and quiet right here. But this is just a calm summer afternoon here in Florida. But in the secret cave drawings, it would make a sound. Now, a howling wolf goes something like this, Tammy. And you know I'm going to do it. I'm Mrs. Walker. I'm going to do it. Ow, 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 ow. So the wind would make this weird, strange, howling kind of a sound. And that would just draw the reader further into my story. So this week, Tammy, as you go into chapter 3 of the secret cave drawings, I want you to try and add one simile and one metaphor. Just one. You don't want to overload your story with like 80 million similes or metaphors. See, 80 million, that's a hyperbole, Tammy. See, I remembered my lesson from last week. Go, Miss Walker. And one more thing before I leave you this week, Tammy. I know you're going back to school, and I just want to tell you, I hope you have a great week back at school. I hope you have a great time seeing all your friends. I do want you to tell me all about it in the chat feature there on Boom Writer. I want you to go in there, and I want you to tell me how it is back at school. Do you guys have to wear masks? Are you sitting 6 feet apart? Where are you going to eat lunch? I want to know all about it. So please, please do me a favor and let me know. I can't wait to read your story. I'm really having a good time in the haunt with you. And I'll talk to you later this week.